may come as a shock to you, but I say that I would have beat every heavyweight that ever lived before me.
What's going on with you? It's your boy Betz, back with another episode of Sports with Betz. I got my main man, Zach Fisher, back here with me. First ever recurring guest on Sports with Betz. I'm rocking the Sports with Betz hoodie. Vibes are high right now, Fish. How you feeling?
Oh, I love it. I love it. Happy to be here. Thanks for the invite again. I thought as a returning guest, at least, I'd be hooked up with one of those sweet hoodies, but I'll go to the shop and buy one.
Well, they are reserved for recurring guests only, and up to this point, we've never had a recurring guest. So you got to be the first one, man. I got to make one for you now. It's good.
I'll send you my address.
Absolutely. I know where you. I'll walk it on over. But we got a lot to get into here. We are about 2 weeks out, week and a half out from the last football game of the season. Well, technically we have 2 football games left with the Super Bowl and the Pro Bowl, but we'll get to that. A lot of NFL to cover here, folks. So buckle up. But before we get into it, I got to ask you guys every single time, please continue to share the show. I'm actually pretty stoked having Zach on the show. I think people were getting sick of seeing my ugly mug for the last 20 weeks and getting Zach. And we actually had a lot of people sharing the show and the numbers were way up. So thank you guys so much for doing that. All I ask is if you learn something, if we make you laugh, if you scoff at us, whatever, if there's any sort of engagement or if there's any positivity or any value that comes from this show, please share it. Send it to your favorite football fan. Send it to the biggest football fan you know. That's what we ask. So getting into this here, Fish, I just want to start with I was looking at some pictures and some videos. My wife has started to do this thing where when we go on trips now, she makes like a family video. We call it our like little family vlog that we do now, like old school family video. And the last video that we had, we were actually in Minneapolis for a concert in August. And I was talking in the video, I was saying like, we were looking at US Bank Stadium. We were walking around downtown right by the stadium. And I was like, man, it's just crazy to think in 1 week, the first preseason game is going to be held here. And so I watched that and it was just like a flashback to how spoiled and how excited we were in August. Now that we have 1 or 2 games left, it's like breaking my heart a little bit. How you feeling about the end of the football season, man?
It goes by way too fast. You're exactly right. It goes by way too fast. And then we head into what's known as the sports abyss.
The abyss.
The abyss. I mean, we got NBA. We got golf is starting up here. We got pitchers and catchers report in probably 2 weeks for spring training. So there's stuff to keep you occupied, but nothing like football does.
Oh, I couldn't agree more, man. And we had some crazy football this past weekend, conference championships. We gave a little preview. And of course, naturally, my picks were the Broncos and the Rams. So that means we have a Patriots and Seahawks Super Bowl. Was insane. Yeah, let's start with that. Let's recap some of those games because I think there's a lot to talk about with these 2 games. We could spend a whole episode just talking about these 2. Let's start in the AFC. I mean, first things first, I cannot believe after watching that game that there'd be any team out there that thinks, yeah, let's build a dome. How awesome was first half is all green grass and then second half was a whiteout. That was incredible. And that first drive, we get Jared Stidham. I was like, we're going to see Jared Stidham in the Super Bowl. This guy is the real deal. So obviously he had one good drive and then proceeded to look like Mark Sanchez from the Jets for the rest of the game. He didn't look too great. He's kind of the reason why they went down. I think, Jared Stidham and Sean Payton combined sabotaged the Broncos' chances of winning that game. But I don't know, man. That game was a little lackluster. I was pretty disappointed in that, just knowing three things here. One, Bo Nix plays that game, Broncos win. I'm convinced of that. Bo Nix plays that game, Broncos win. There's a lot of situations where, third and short, where they draw. Sean Payton just loves these little screen passes and dump off passes, which I don't understand, but there's a lot of these situations where the Broncos had opportunities for broken plays that Bo Nix gets with his legs. I mean, it's just that the Broncos have had that all year. So I think if Bo Nix plays, they win that game. Number two, the field goal in the red zone, going for it on 4th and 1 versus kicking the field goal and taking the points. That was pretty catastrophic. And then number three, if Jared Stidham just takes a sack instead of throwing the ball backwards and giving the ball up right there. And again, that kind of ties back into Bo Nix probably wouldn't make that mistake. So I was pretty bummed out. I like seeing, the Patriots celebrate for a little bit, but I'm like, you guys scored 10 points to make it to the Super Bowl, like easiest path to the Super Bowl ever. So that's where I sit as I see the AFC Championship game.
Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about a tale of two halves. Go back and watch the first half. I mean, it looked like a gorgeous day in Denver. And then you look at the second half and you're like, where are the players?
Yeah.
Where are the players? That snow came in hot and heavy, and that definitely affected the outcome of the game. And I think the Patriots wearing those all white jerseys was part of a strategy by Vrabes. He's a mastermind.
Classic
mastermind.
Patriots cheating.
I think classic Patriots. I think your eyes might be a little what's the word? Deceived, or because you don't want to see Vrabes have success, so you don't want to see the Patriots win that game. But I thought they were ultimately the better team. Yeah, when that first drive, when Stidham hit that pass down the sideline to, I think it was Mims.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, okay, they might be for real. It might be a little whooping going on here.
Yep.
And then they proceeded to do nothing the rest of the game.
I can't believe it.
So it's like, well, I don't know. You don't deserve. I think the Patriots sat back, figured out how Stidham was going to play, and then once they figured that out, they're like, all right, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done.
Well, and it was crazy because you're right, like a tale of two halves for sure. And, a lot of people blamed the weather for lack of offensive production. But if you look at the stats, like I think Drake May had like 40-something yards passing the entire first half. And it was just a defensive slugfest. And of course, if you put yourself in a situation like that against Mike Vrabel, he's going to win that fight 9 times out of 10. I mean, we saw that when the Titans run. I've watched this in the playoffs with Vrabes, where Tom Brady's last game in Foxborough, same thing, defensive slugfest, came down to clock management. And if you remember, that was the classic. This is where I feel like I was a huge fan of Vrabel already at this time, but this is where the rest of the league took notice as to the genius of Mike Vrabel, where he kept calling those delay of game penalties on 4th down. And you see Bill Belichick on the sideline just furious. It's like, dude, he learned it from you. He learned this clock management strategy from you. Vrabel's going to, Vrabel drug him out to deep water and drowned him. That's exactly what happened. And that's what you're supposed to do when you're going against a backup quarterback away, in an opponent's stadium. And with the weather doing what it did, it was, I don't know. I was really excited for that game, and I feeling a little deflated afterwards, to be honest.
Well, yeah, and you mentioned going for it on that 4th and 1. It was the second quarter. You're in the red zone in the AFC Championship game. Like, if you don't trust your guys to go ahead and get you that first down, why even playing the game? Yeah, well, it's easy. It's easy to sit back in hindsight and say, "Oh, that was the difference of the game," because the score ended up being 10-7. It's easy to say that, but in the moment, like, you have to trust your guys to go out there and win, either win or lose. But it's the second quarter.
Yeah,
there's a whole ton of game left to be played. Let's go out there and get this. And if you don't, you don't, which they didn't. But like, I'm of the party where let's go for this. Let's go. Let's keep our foot on the gas pedal here.
No, I totally see that perspective. And I watched that game with I think there was 6 or 7 of us. I've told you I've got a buddy who's a big Broncos fan. So, nice. First 6, 7 appearance on the show. Yeah, I've got a buddy who's a big Broncos fan, and we watched all the games with him. We went to the Broncos game week 1 in Mile High against the Titans. And in that moment, it was perfect 50-50 split. Half of us were saying, take the points. I did say in the moment, you got to take the points here. And everybody else was saying, dude, they're on the goal line. There's 1 yard to go. You got to trust your defense at home. And who knows if you're going to get that opportunity again to score a touchdown from that close. So I totally understand that. I don't know. Maybe it was a little conservative of me. I would have taken the points there. Worst case scenario, if I'm going for it, I'm not drawing that play call up. And something else that's going to be crazy, that's going to be really interesting, and we'll get to the Seahawks here, is what happened. Speaking of a tale of two halves, what happened to the Broncos offensive line? It felt like there were 3 Patriots defenders in the backfield from the midway point through the second quarter on the rest of the game. So not only do you have your backup in there, he couldn't chill for a second. He was getting pressured the entire game, which again, that's hat off to Vrabel for that.
Yeah, I think once the defense kind of smells that blood in the water, it just snowballs from there. And it's tough if you're not getting any sort of offensive production in either ways. And then that's where Sean Payton should thrive. The screen game, the short passes, let the edge rushers come. Let's throw it over top of them and get a big gain. And it just wasn't there. And that might fall on Stidham. That might fall on, being the backup quarterback without a whole ton of experience. But at the same time, you're in the NFL, dude. You got to execute the plays.
Yep, absolutely. And you're right. They totally smelled blood. And the NFL is a game of capitalizing on opportunities and momentum. And the Patriots did both of those things. It was an instant momentum shift for sure. So I'm excited to see Vrabes in a Super Bowl. I've got some opinions I'm going to share here in a minute. It's really hard seeing that, man. It's really hard seeing Drake May, go to the Super Bowl with Mike Vrabel and him celebrating. And the truth of the matter is this is what I fully had to accept as a Titans fan. This is a different version of Mike Vrabel than even when he was with the Titans. He was a really, really good coach when he was in Tennessee. But I think that last year of getting humbled by being a part of an awful franchise and he got honored in the Patriots Ring of Honor, and then getting fired, and then he took a year off. I think he learned he took inventory and learned from his mistakes, and he's back as a bigger and better coach than he ever was in Tennessee. Even though he had the easiest strength of schedule in the NFL this year. You play who you play, regardless if it's the Chargers and Justin Herbert in the playoffs and CJ Stroud, who looked like he was trying to lose that game on purpose, or Jared Stidham. It doesn't matter. You play who you play.
Yeah, that's probably a big part of it, him taking that year off, kind of self-reflecting. But also, I think he's given the freedom in New England where he might not have been given in Tennessee, just because he had that sweat equity put in as a player.
Totally.
And Robert Kraft kind of trusts him to lead him in the way that he wants to, where, at Tennessee, I could be completely wrong, but he could have been looking over his shoulder and, trying to figure out what that ownership was judging him on versus in New England.
No, totally. He had, it wasn't quite like a Brian Flores in Miami, but there was a rift. He was constantly butting heads with, front office and ownership and whatnot. And there's conspiracy theories with Titans fans online that he even was checked out his last year and a half, 2 years, wanted to get fired on purpose because he knew that there was going to be an opening in New England or whatever. I don't think it worked out exactly like that, but it really felt that way. And you're right. He's got the credibility. He's won Super Bowls in Foxborough before. So he's at where he's supposed to be. Yeah, that was a defensive slugfest. And I think it gave us some indication as to what the Super Bowl might look like, because going from that game to the Seahawks and the Rams game, holy smokes, what a game that was, dude. That was one of the best football games of the season. Like, we've had back-to-back weeks. I think the Broncos and the Bills and the Rams and the Seahawks, I think those are my two favorite games all year long. They were so exciting. I mean, hat off to Matthew Stafford. He is such a freaking stud. I mean, you can't blame that game on him one bit. Like, what did he have? Over 350 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Puka Nacua was a stud. Devontae Adams did exactly what we said he was going to do with getting, 4-yard touchdown reception. Like, he's just a red zone menace. But, dude, I got to say, you and me both, we could not have predicted this game more wrong last week than we did. I thought it was going to be like a low-scoring, divisional, rivalry game. You predicted, don't want to put words in your mouth, but you predicted Sam Darnold's time for him to turn back into a pumpkin was in the NFC Championship game. Sam Darnold, man, got to give him credit. He proved the haters wrong. That might be his best game of his entire career. It couldn't have happened at a bigger time,
Yeah, absolutely. Hats off to Sam. I've had some time to reflect and digest, and I'm happy for him. Kind of side tangent. As a Minnesota fan, there was a lot of controversy of whether or not, to let Sam go, to franchise tag him, to sign him to an extended deal. We had just drafted J.J. McCarthy, who was supposed to be our quarterback of the future. I mean, he still could be, potentially, hopefully. I don't think so, but hopefully, right?
Fingers crossed.
And again, in hindsight's always 2020. It's easy to say now, yeah, the Vikings should have signed Sam Darnold. But at the time, it's like, what were your options? You franchise tag him. I don't think franchise tagging Sam would have been fair to him, given the opportunities that were out there and the opportunity that he got in Seattle with a long-term deal for $30 million a year. And then at the same time, with our current roster construction, I don't think we could afford to give Sam the same type of deal that Seattle was willing to give him. So it is what it is. Happy for Sam. Glad he finally got that monkey off his back. I was a hater. I didn't think he could do it because he proved to me and every other Vikings fan that he couldn't do it. So now he just proved that he could. So good for him. At the same time, that was not a catch by Cooper Kupp. All right? That's not a catch. We can't – the catch rule in the NFL is so what's that word? It's like ambiguity? Ambiguous. Yeah, ambiguous. Where it's just up to the referees on the field of what they think is a catch. Well, no, you can't have that. If that Cooper Kupp is a catch, then the Brandon Cooks catch 2 weeks ago should have been a catch. Right? You can't have it either they're both catches or they're both not catches. Whatever, you know what I mean? So I didn't think I was hoping that Cooper Kupp, they were at least going to review it, because everything we hear is you have to survive the ground. Well, he took one step, went to the ground, didn't survive the ground. Yeah. So why I don't understand why that wasn't up for review. They were reviewing whether he got the first down, and still that's up for debate. But yeah, I was pulling for the Rams, so I mean, I might be a little biased here in my talking about it, but at the same time, I don't think it was a catch. And I think if Stafford would have got the ball back there, they could have scored, hopefully.
I think so. There's too much time left on the clock for Stafford. And this is a point I hadn't thought of until you just brought that up. Like, how is it possible that this entire offseason, the rule changes, or the last 2 years, the rule changes that we've heard about have been the tush push, which whoever invented that term needs to get shot. Like, I cannot hear, if I hear Tony Romo or Chris Collinsworth say the tush push one more time, let's go back to calling it a QB sneak. I cannot stand it. So they're trying to ban the tush push, and then they're trying to ban hip drop tackles. Have you seen a single hip drop tackle penalty called since that whole thing was going on? I haven't. I don't think they have called a hip. So
not outside of the preseason. The preseason they were calling it, but not.
Did they really? Okay, I must have missed that. But it's just crazy. We live in a world, we're watching a league, a multi-billion-dollar league, $100 billion league or whatever it is, where they're trying to ban the tush push and the hip drop tackle, but the league can't even define. Nobody can agree on what a catch is. Like, let's get back to ABCs. That's ABC shit. So I'm with you, man. We disagreed on the Brandon Cooks catch. My whole opinion was based on the way the NFL rules are written, that was a catch, or that was an interception rather by the Broncos. But I agree with you. There's like, you can see clips of Cooper Kupp dropping the ball, or you can see clips of Brandon Cooks on the ground with possession of the ball while he's down. Also, I've never understood, this is a separate side tangent here. How come when a running back has possession of the ball and they cross the plane of the end zone, it's a dead ball touchdown? But when a wide receiver catches the ball in the end zone and they have possession of the ball in the end zone, it's not immediately a dead ball, that they have to somehow continue the play. Why is it different for running versus passing? Does that make any sense?
I'd have to get. So, are you saying like what I think you're saying is the running back has already established possession and he's crossing the goal line versus making a catch in the end zone?
Yeah, so you have
so then I would think then you have to complete the catch inside of the end zone.
Yeah, I think you just hit it on the head. The disagreement or the flaw is the definition of possession. What is possession of the football? Possession of the football, I mean, if you're a running back and you're sticking your hand out and you cross the plane, QB sneak over the line, you cross the plane, it's a dead ball, automatic touchdown, regardless if a defender slaps the ball out of your hand at that point, right? So he has possession, reaches across the end zone, defender slaps the ball, it's still a touchdown. You're a wide receiver, you catch the ball, you get 2 feet down, you have possession, but if a defender comes and swats it out of your hands, it's an incompletion,
You have to complete the process of the catch.
I know. So the definition of possession when it pertains to catch, they need to figure that out, because I agree with you. It's way too subjective and it's kind of all over the place. But in any event, getting back to this game and the Super Bowl here, I'm sorry, did you have anything else on Seahawks Rams?
No. The one more thing.
Okay.
How about how much instant karma and gratification I got when Reek Woolen gets that taunting penalty?
Oh my gosh.
Extends the drive and then gets burnt for the touchdown like 2 or 3 plays later.
How smart is Sean McVay recognizing an opportunity where he gets the penalty, biggest games of Reek Woolen's life. He knows that he's going to be emotional distress right now. He's deep in his head, and Sean McVay calls plays, goes right at him. Sick catch by Puka Nacua, turning it and still getting into the end zone. When I saw that, I was like, Sean McVay, you're earning your money, dude. That was incredible.
That was nice. That was instant justice there.
It is kind of crazy too. Like, that's something that you think in high school or college football, players are going to do stuff like that. But like, how do we have pro football players making millions of dollars that are costing their team's opportunities with things that are completely within their control? Like, how the ref warned him. He's like, get away. And he kept doing it it was like 3rd and 20. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Oh, that was insane. Yeah. I forgot about that. That was wild. But I have a question as it pertains to the Super Bowl, because we covered Mike Vrabel and Sam Darnold.
Okay. Is
this Super Bowl more painful for you, or is it more painful for me?
Well, I can only speak for myself, but I have zero pain watching it.
Okay. So it's painful for me.
I would guess it's more painful for you then.
Yeah, because I saw a stat that Vrabel, I got to read this. Vrabel has more wins since December 21st than the Titans have since they fired him in 2023. Now, granted, I saw something else that was crazy, that, our conference championships, we had we had Rams and Seahawks. We had Broncos and Patriots. Titans played all 4 of those teams this year. None of them are in their division, mind you. And we played the majority of the playoff field this year. So the Patriots had the weakest strength of schedule, and the Titans had the number 1 hardest strength of schedule this year, which is kind of insane. So I think it'll be a very different story this next year. And I think it'll be less painful for me after the Super Bowl, but leading into it, yeah, I'm gonna be rooting for the Seahawks big time, dude. I'm rooting for the Seahawks big time. And it's not just because of the Vrabel thing. There's a couple of different things at play here. So I've been seeing the Patriots, the NFL, different sports networks, ESPN have been pushing Stephon Diggs about how sweet it is to have Stephon Diggs in the Super Bowl. Do you know Stephon Diggs has an open assault and battery case against him right now that got suspended so he could play in the Super Bowl? Are you aware of this?
I'm very much aware. I'm also aware of his brother beating up a hairstylist a couple months ago on behalf of Stephon. Yeah,
that's
he is a garbage human being.
Cardi B is his girl. That couldn't be more perfect. And I feel like here's what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen. Patriots are going to go to the Super Bowl. It's going to be a huge story about Stephon Diggs. He's going the pictures. Remember the pictures of him on the sidelines at Buffalo where he was watching, the AFC Championship loss. The other team, I think it's probably the Chiefs or whoever, celebrating. They're going to make this whole storyline about Stephon Diggs, and then a month later, the video of him choking a chick out is going to surface, and the NFL is going to look so stupid. They always do this. Why do they do this?
Because you'll forget about it by then.
Yeah, because money talks.
Exactly. They got to have a story to sell. Outside of, there's not a whole lot you can sell about this Super Bowl. I've had a couple guys, buddies of mine, text me separately who they don't know each other, and they're like, "I have never been more disinterested in this Super Bowl matchup." So it could just be the NFL is trying to make some sort of story, trying to grab some sort of audience out there. Like, hey, look at this storyline. Hey, look at this. Please watch our product. Which I don't know.
Do you remember the 2 years where Michael Jordan played baseball when Hakeem Olajuwon won his back-to-back, NBA finals? That's kind of what it feels like with Patrick Mahomes in the NFL right now. I'm going to be honest with you. I actually had that written down, that having the Patriots and the Seahawks in the playoffs or in the Super Bowl, it kind of feels like a little bit of a cupcake got there by default. I won't even say that for the Seahawks, because the Seahawks had to go through a gauntlet. For the Patriots are never making it past a healthy Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. And I'm not a fan of the Chiefs. I actively rooted for the Chiefs' demise. And I living in Nebraska and having to hear about Chiefs fans all the time makes me sick to my stomach. But that's what Drake May and the Patriots feel like. It feels like Hakeem Olajuwon winning because Michael Jordan's out. But so that's one thing. So Stephon Diggs, mark my words, there's going to be some video, there's going to be some evidence, you're going to get details about his trial after the Super Bowl, and we're going to be like, oh, Stephon Diggs, maybe not such a nice guy. And then the other thing, okay, we can agree, speaking of not very nice guys, we can agree Deshaun Watson, not a very good guy. Allegedly. Justin Tucker, probably not a very nice guy, right? Allegedly. Robert Kraft, nice guy.
Proven.
Allegedly. I mean, he got caught with his private jet in Jupiter, Florida, paying for something at a massage parlor. Nobody talks. You don't have Robert Kraft in the same conversation as Deshaun Watson and Justin Tucker. I'm like, Patriots, man, they must have the most, since Spygate and Deflategate, they must just have the most insane PR team to avoid these types of controversies. Because I saw all sorts of tweets, again, from major organizations, from Fox and ESPN, hyping up Stephon Diggs and Robert Kraft getting to a Super Bowl. I'm like, these are the people you want to showcase. It's kind of crazy. So again, rooting for the Seahawks because my heart can't handle Rabel winning a Super Bowl, and every time you click on his Wikipedia page, seeing he's a Super Bowl champion with the Patriots, I can't handle that. I also think that there's a lot of dirt on the Patriots. This team is not this, America's team like they're being made out to. And I also think
this current Patriots team. Oh,
that's what I'm saying. Robert Kraft, Stephon Diggs, not great guys, dude. You don't want to root for them. I'm not taking that side. But I also think the Seahawks are just a better team overall. I think that the Seahawks are a further evolved version of the Patriots where their defense is better, their special teams is better, and their offense is more consistent. I think that the Patriots have the higher upside potential from an offensive standpoint, but you get JSN and Sam Darnold clicking out there. I mean, they can cut up a good defense. So I'm heavy in on the Patriots. On the Seahawks. I think that I might even put a fat bet on them and stake my Kaleb curse that some circles have saying that I have. I think if the Seahawks beat the Patriots and I win money on it, I think that could officially break the Kaleb curse. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think the Seahawks run away with this thing. I don't even think it's going to be within 20 points.
Do you know what the spread is?
I don't.
I think it's like 4.5 points, which I think is not fair. I think that line should be way bigger than that. I know then the Super Bowl is crazy to say, but I'm with you. I think it's a 7 to 10 point Seahawks win minimum.
Seahawks minus 4.5 right now.
Yep, 4.5. So
that sounds like an over.
Yeah, that sounds like Seahawks are going to blow that out of the water, I think. And they're playing in San Fran. That's their home turf. They've already played there. They got to play there twice a year or whatever. They play there every year, and they know that area well. They don't have to travel as far as New England does. I like the Seahawks a lot in this game. So
yeah. That reminded me of a crazy stat I saw. I don't know if I sent this to you or not. That was the AFC Championship game was the first game the Patriots played on the west side of the Mississippi River.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Go and look at their schedule. That was playing in Denver for the AFC Championship game was the first time they crossed the Mississippi River all year.
Wow. I mean, yeah, I'm thinking about it. They're in the AFC East, so they've got Jets, Dolphins, Bills. That's 6 of their games. Yeah, that's insane. Dude, that is crazy. So they got to go way out west.
Yeah, so they played the Raiders at home, at Miami, Steelers at home, Panthers at home, at Buffalo, at New Orleans, which is like right on the Mississippi River. So,
but still not west. You would not say New Orleans and say west. Yeah.
At Tennessee, home against Cleveland, home against Atlanta, at Tampa Bay, home against the Jets, at Cincinnati, home against the Giants, home against the Bills, at Baltimore, at the Jets, home against the Dolphins.
Dude, that's insane.
And then they had that home playoff game against whoever they played. Chargers,
yeah. And then they went to Houston, right?
Or no. Oh, no, it was a home game against Houston.
It was at home. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's crazy. Wow, that's insanity. So, okay, I see your insane stat, and I'm going to match you an insane stat. Seahawks GM, John Schneider. People don't talk about John Schneider enough. He hasn't been on my radar as much, but this is a crazy stat. So, John Schneider is the first GM in NFL history to reach multiple Super Bowls with the same organization while having a new head coach and no players from the previous Super Bowl team. That's insane. I mean, that's the definition of being undeniable, I feel like there. It's like, I'm going to go back to the Super Bowl and I'm sitting in my same chair and I'm going to see the revolving door of coaches and players come in and out and we're going right back. Like he deserves a ton of credit. That's impressive.
That's crazy. And that's something we probably won't ever see again in our lifetime.
How could you?
And the way you get you get 5 years. You don't get a Super Bowl. I mean, 5 years might be too long. A
Yeah,
lot more than some guys get. He got that, and then so I'm trying to think, when was their last Super Bowl was what, 20? They beat the hell out of the Broncos that one year. Was that 2013?
that was 2013, but then they went back. Was that 2015
No, it was
against
the year. It was the
New
year right
England?
after, 2014. That
The-
was the Malcolm Butler interception
that's what I was gonna say.
by
And
New
dude,
England.
how much does it suck to be Russell Wilson right now, where you're gonna have to watch that play 1,000 times? They're gonna play that 1,000 times in the next 2 weeks.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
I've
Well,
already seen it. I've already watched it a couple times.
and then if you're Marshawn Lynch, just yep, they should have gave me the ball.
Mind you, I rewatched that and I noticed something. Mind you, that was on second down. That wasn't fourth down. They threw the ball in the red zone with 20 seconds to left, 20 seconds to go in the Super Bowl on second down. Pete Carroll, what are you doing? Crazy. Malcolm Butler game, man. That made his entire career right there. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
that was what, 12 years ago. How is he still even a GM?
I don't get it. Yeah, so that would have been
Good for him.
2014. Yeah, Seahawks that was the last time they were there, right? Has to be.
Yeah.
Crazy. Absolutely insane. Awesome if you're a millennial and you've been a Seahawks fan for all these years, being able to watch a complete rebuild and get back to that spot. That's pretty and amazing. Even better if you're a New England Patriots fan. I mean, couldn't happen to a worse group of people, in my opinion. I mean, my gosh, you get to watch the Brady Belichick era, and then then you just have like 2 years of what I've experienced as a Titans fan for my entire life, and then you're back in the Super Bowl. I mean, come on, that's crazy. Speaking of Bill Belichick, though, is the Hall of Fame a joke organization?
It might now be. I never thought that before until. And it's just a popularity contest at this point? Has
It's a
nothing to
joke.
do what you do on the field. It's
Dude.
Bill didn't say hi to me one time, so I'm not going to vote for him.
Dude,
That's an absolute joke.
Bill Polian is the sorest loser of any loser I've ever seen in sports history, where you get your teeth kicked in your entire career at the Bills. You know, you never have a chance to do anything because you run into the buzzsaw. That was Bill Belichick. And then same thing with his time in Indianapolis. And Bill Polian, he was kind of the ringleader who rallied everybody to have Belichick miss. If we didn't even say what happened, Bill Belichick missed his first ballot Hall of Fame, did not get voted into the Hall of Fame on his first ballot anyway. And Bill Polian is said to be the ringleader behind this. And then when he was called out about it, he flip-flopped and he said, "No, I voted for him. That's completely unequivocally false." I don't know if I said that word right, unequivocally. I'm going to roll with it.
Yeah.
And then he came back and he said, "Actually, I couldn't remember who I voted for. I think I voted for a player and a coach, but I could."
Then you shouldn't have a vote.
Then you shouldn't.
Then you shouldn't have a vote.
Both of those.
If you didn't vote for him or you don't remember who you voted for, you shouldn't have a vote.
Amen. 100% agree. That's insanity. And it's even worse. Like if you're gonna rally 10 people and get, because I was looking at the list, it's hard to pick out who would have voted against him. Like I saw Tony Dungy on there was the other one. I was like, all right, I could see Dungy maybe being a little salty from back in the day. But if you're gonna rally the troops against somebody and build this cause, and then when somebody calls you out for it, you deny it, like, dude, come on. You got to stand on business. You got to own it, you know?
Yep. Absolutely. So there's been 3 other head coaches that are first ballot Hall of Famers. I don't know. I don't remember the names of them. Bill Belichick by himself has more playoff wins, Super Bowls, conference championships than all 3 of those guys combined.
Insane.
How is it even a question? I don't understand that at all.
Completely insane. I mean, we had a dark day for things that don't really matter, but we pretend that they matter, being the Hall of Fame and the Pro Bowl. I mean, how do you have in the same day Bill Belichick misses his first ballot Hall of Fame, and then you have Shadur Sanders comes in as the Pro Bowl quarterback? Hey, look, you can listen back to the tape. You can hear me on the podcast talk about this. I was rooting for Shadur Sanders just because I'm wearing an NFL hat. I'm a fan of football. I'm a fan of storylines. I'm a fan of personalities. If Shadur Sanders comes in and blows the lid off of the NFL, it's good for the sport. It's drawing more attention to the sport. I said the same thing about him in Colorado. Would I personally want him as my quarterback? Do I like him? Do I want to grab a beer with him? No. I'm not saying any of that, but I'm rooting for Shadur Sanders. And Shadur Sanders doesn't deserve to be in the Pro Bowl, maybe even more than Bill Belichick does deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, just an absolute joke.
It's been a joke for a few years now. Pro Bowls does not matter. Most of the guys that are selected for them or nominated for them don't even go, and that's how you end up with these situations where guys like Shadur, guys like Tyler Huntley a few years ago end up making these Pro Bowl rosters, and then that's something that they have on underneath their Wikipedia page forever. Yeah, Shadur is a Pro Bowl, NFL Pro Bowl quarterback. No, he's not.
I think that the only accolade or title that still has meaning anymore, obviously, I want to get to this here. We'll talk about this right next. Is like NFL awards, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. Those things still have meaning. But in terms of
All Pro.
accolades that you look at, All Pro. That's the only one that matters. First team, second team, All Pro. That still has respect. In my opinion, I think that more often than not, you get some snubs because it's such a diverse and such a talented league that you get some people who get left off of that All Pro list. You never, ever have somebody who made first team All Pro that absolutely didn't deserve it. You won't ever have it. So, I think the Pro Bowl, after seeing that, really with Snoop, Tyler Huntley, that was a huge joke. And I like that the fans get a vote. And this league is driven by the fans. It doesn't have to be all data and ownership and money driven. The fans do get a say, and that's cool. But come on, guys, you got that. He is from EPA, from an EPA standpoint. Shadur Sanders was the worst quarterback in the entire NFL, even worse than a lot of teams' backup quarterbacks. He was worse than both Kyler Murray and Jacoby Brissett. It's terrible, absolutely horrible. So
well, don't throw shade on Jacoby Brissett. He had a good year.
He did have a good year for the cards he was dealt. Man, I'm a Jacoby Brissett fan. And we'll get to some head coaching news here in a minute, but if I'm an NFL, if I'm on the marketing team for the NFL, I would just say, let's get rid of the Pro Bowl. You keep the event, because I'm a father of a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old boy. So these little they switched it to these games where they do the flag football and crazy catches, and they do all this dodgeball. They do all this fun stuff. So it's great exposure for the NFL, especially from a younger demographic. They can see the players doing stuff where they don't have a helmet on. They can actually see their faces. So I think it's great exposure for the league. So I'm not saying get rid of the event. I'm just saying let's rebrand this thing as, call it the NFL games. Yeah. And just, you send out invites, you try to get as many big names there as you can, but don't call it the Pro Bowl anymore. Yeah, it's like if you got a Pro Bowl nomination, or you got into the Pro Bowl after 2015, maybe we just make that a clean cutoff point. Take it off the Wikipedia page, change it to I like that, the NFL games, or the NFL Fan Bowl or something like that, to keep the fans engaged. Give it, because I watched the dodgeball game last year. I thought it was a lot of fun. Yeah, cool. It is cool, but it's not. It doesn't mean anything. Right. No. We have to be honest about that. It's very fun. Doesn't mean a damn thing. It should not be considered when you're determining somebody's legacy post 2015 anyway. So, well, speaking of accolades and awards, February 5th, next week. What's that? Is that Thursday next week, I think? I want to say Thursday or Friday next week.
Yep.
We've got the awards going on here. So I want to at least provide the listeners of Sports with Bets here, if you're betting on it or if you just, for the sake of anticipation, we're going to go over our predictions for the top 4 awards, the awards that people actually care about, being the MVP, Coach of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and the Offensive Player of the Year. And rookies and assistants and GMs of the year, you guys can just talk amongst yourselves. Let's start here, Fish. Do you want to go first or you want me to go first with some predictions? Let's start with MVP.
MVP. I'm going to go CMC.
Whoa.
I know. I told you I was going to throw you some curveballs here.
Holy smokes. Why?
I think there was not a player in this league that meant more to the team, especially going through what San Francisco went through this year with nobody was healthy. CMC finally had a healthy year. You talk about a guy who I think he was top 3 in carries, top 10 in receptions.
Crazy.
Finished second in yards from scrimmage behind Bijan. So I thought about Bijan here, but I think CMC meant more to San Francisco. San Francisco had more success on the field than Atlanta did. So I give the nod to CMC over Bijan. But you and I both know it's a quarterback award. So let's stop calling it the MVP. But my MVP, true most valuable player to his team, Christian McCaffrey.
I love that take a lot, and you didn't mention he also beat the electrical substation that's outside of Levi Stadium. So not only did he take on the entire league, he also beat the substation that shreds everybody else in their organization's Achilles and ACLs. So good for him for that too. Absolutely. We have seen sometimes in the NFL where they will kind of give the MVP. This happens a lot in the NBA where it's kind of like there's some voter fatigue, or they'll do like a makeup where, like, who did Josh Allen win it last year?
Yes.
Was that so? Josh Allen won it last year, and then Lamar won it the year before, I want to say. I can't remember how this went, but it felt like 2 years ago, Josh Allen should have won it. And then last year, Lamar should have won it if you look at it just from a statistical basis. But they screwed it up 2 years ago, so then they had to make it up the year after. I'm setting the stage to say that it's an absolute travesty and embarrassment that Matthew Stafford has never won an MVP before, and he's getting old, and this might be his last shot to do it. Clearly, the MVP voters and the writers and people in the NFL care so much about NFL history that I think for that reason, they're going to give it to Matthew Stafford. And I think he deserves it. I think if we're being honest, he should, if he didn't spend, let me change my word choice. If he didn't waste his entire career in Detroit, he would probably have multiple MVPs and multiple Super Bowl victories. So I did not think Stafford was going to play at this level again. I thought last year was his final big year, and he came out and played even better. So I could be wrong. He could come back and have another year, but this felt like Matt Stafford's swan song, and therefore I'd love to see him get the MVP, and I think he's deserving of it. If I had a vote, I'd give it to Stafford for that reason. So
yeah, I like the Stafford pick. He's an MVP dude.
Yeah,
he's probably gonna win it. Yeah. It's like I said, it's a quarterback award, but I love Stafford.
Yeah. Well, let's go, because this might be a little lackluster. Let's jump to Offensive Player of the Year, and I'm going to go first here because for all the reasons you said, I've got Christian McCaffrey winning my Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, dude is a stud. He's the great white hope. We love Christian McCaffrey. So, who you got for Offensive Player of the Year?
Yeah, same thing. If I'm going to give him the MVP, you got to give him the Offensive Player of the Year. I think in reality, it's probably going to fall more in line with what you're saying. Stafford MVP, Christian McCaffrey, Offensive Player of the Year. Bijan might sneak up in there though.
He could.
And deservingly so. A lot of times they look at, well, okay, who was the best player on the best team?
Yeah.
And
Cam Ward.
Atlanta just didn't have the win. Well, that's debatable. Atlanta just didn't have the overall wins that San Fran and LA had. So I think, I give mine to CMC again, just because he put that team on his back.
You know who I'm actually rooting for? So I think Christian McCaffrey is going to win the Offensive Player of the Year, but I actually would love to see Jackson Smith and Jigba win the Offensive Player of the Year award, because I think people, I mean, I don't know, maybe not anymore now that he's in the Super Bowl and he's getting all this attention, but he sneakily had one of the best wide receiver single seasons that we've seen, I mean, in a really long time, I feel like. And I don't know if did you hear what Tom Brady said about him on the broadcast this past game about his shoulder plane?
No.
So something, and I've really been enjoying Tom Brady as a commentator. I think he's really stepped up and done a good job. And insights like this is why I say that is he mentioned that Jackson Smith and Jigba, if you watch highlights, and they showed a couple highlights of him with his shoulder plane, it stays level, meaning the defender doesn't have any indication. There's no hint as to where JSN is going to run with his route, which direction he's going to turn at all. He stays completely level, and his center of balance stays level the entire time, so much so that his shoulder pads don't even dip, or he's not telegraphing anything. And after him saying that, I went back and watched a couple of highlights. I was just scrolling on Twitter. I searched JSN's name on Twitter and was looking at some of his big highlights from the year. And once you see it that way, you just notice this dude just glides. I mean, he really is something special. I mean, knock on wood, I hope he stays healthy, because he absolutely deserves to be up there in the Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Jackson Smith and Jigba deserves to be right up there in that conversation. So if he wins the Offensive Player of the Year, I'd actually be really stoked about that for him.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. He had an absolutely fantastic year. I don't think he gets it. I mean, I don't even think it's going to be close.
It'll either be CMC or Bijan, right?
That's my thought. Yeah,
I think so too. I think JSN is probably third in that conversation, but I'm rooting for him. I would love to see that. And then the most obvious one, well, the one probably you and I didn't even have to think twice about, Defensive Player of the Year. Do you want to say it on three? You want to say 1, 2, 3 and say the player's name at the same time?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Myles
Garrett. Bingo.
I thought about switching it up, saying Dallas Turner.
That'd be sick.
Jonathan Grenard.
You can't. I don't know.
Yeah,
you can't.
You set the single season sack record. Your team is like, unfortunately, you're on a terrible team, dude. I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, he'll get it hands down.
He'll get it. It's a no-brainer. That's the only one that everybody knows what's going to happen. I don't know. I don't even know who resume-wise would compete with that, but Myles Garrett's going to be the Defensive Player of the Year without a doubt. And then Coach of the Year. There's a little bit of parity here. Just to stay consistent and shield my fragile heart from pain, I'm going to say I think Mike Macdonald deserves the Coach of the Year award. I like Mike Macdonald as it. I think he's a great leader. I also saw there was a Seahawks posted, this is also on Twitter, posted this like hype video of Mike Macdonald's introductory speech from 2 years ago, where he's talking about culture and identity, and we're going to make it to the Super Bowl, and here's why. And then they just layered on
that, or it was on McAfee.
Did McAfee yeah. I saw the official Seahawks Twitter post. I don't know who created the video, or I probably should give credit where that's due. I just saw they posted that, and yeah, they layered on with like highlights, and he says something, and then they just went and did it. He like totally manifested that. So I've become a big fan of Mike Macdonald. I love the quote after the NFC Championship game where the reporter, whoever was like, or no, it was Strahan. I was split tooth. Strahan asked him.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, the gap. Strahan goes like, they were saying all this about you. They were saying that about you. And Mike Macdonald grabs the mic. He goes, "We did not care." I was like, oh my gosh. And the 12th man goes insane. Oh, if that was my coach, I'd be so pumped. So I got to give it to Mike Macdonald.
I'm going to go. I mean, Mike McDonald's probably deserving. I'm going to go Shanahan. It's going to sound like I'm a 49ers fan tonight.
Yeah.
Where did this come from? But I think Shanahan's not given enough credit for what he did this year with that 49ers team. I mean, you get Fred Warner going out, Kittle going out, Purdy going
Bosa.
out, Ayuk, MIA.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just pulling guys off the street saying, let's figure this thing out. I mean, it's nice that you have CMC as your fallback plan. But I think what Shanahan did this year with the 49ers, he's not given enough credit for. And it might be just because he's been such a good coach. Like the expectations are higher, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's like a recency bias where, oh yeah, that's just what Shanahan does. It's nothing special. Versus a guy like Mike McDonald, there is no precedent to what he's done before. So he goes and wins the NFC. Okay, yeah, this guy's a good coach.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that take. I don't even know where he's at. If you were to bet on Shanahan to win Coach of the Year, you'd probably win a lot of money.
Probably not even on the list.
Hey, I don't know if I think he's a finalist.
I think we've established the NFL voters are dumb, though.
They are dumb. That is true. They're gonna not give Vrabel Coach of the Year because of Spygate or something like that. Yeah, that could very well happen. I would love to see Kyle Shanahan. I think you can make an argument that he's the best coach of the entire damn NFL. I mean, he's incredible. I've nothing but respect for him. He keeps a really talented player or staff around him too, like Robert Saleh. You know, some of the best coaches in the NFL are right in his back pocket.
No bias there, huh?
Zero
no
bias.
Projection there, huh?
As they did their introductory press conference for him today in Nashville, and I watched the whole thing, and it was incredible. I like that take a lot. Probably Mike Vrabel is probably going to end up winning Coach of the Year again. I'd like to see. I'd wonder. I don't know this. I should have come prepared with this. I wonder how many times you have had a coach win Coach of the Year with multiple franchises. I wonder how common that is. Probably not very common.
I would imagine not very common. I'm trying to think if there's any recent guys. I mean, that could apply to.
I can't think of any.
Yeah. There probably is. I'm sure it's happened before, but I can't. It's not on the top of my head right now.
I can't think of anybody like within the last 10, 15 years who have coached one place and gone to another place and had success. Bruce Arians, maybe, but I don't think he ever won Coach of the Year.
Andy Reid,
maybe. Did he? Andy Reid was probably a good guess. That would be a really good guess, actually.
I'm just throwing names out there now.
Interesting. Well, we'll see. I like those predictions. I like 49ers bandwagon. Hop on board, baby.
Yes, dude.
That's awesome. Speaking of coaches, though, 3 things I want to go over real quick, and then we gotta bring this in for a landing here. So number 1, I just gotta go on a quick little spiel because bringing in Robert Saleh as the Titans head coach I'm really, really excited. And seeing this guy, he's dressed up in a suit and a tie. He answered questions so well. I want to play a clip of Robert Saleh real quick in his introductory press conference today, because after I was at my desk at work, and it got me wanting to just jump up and
run through that brick wall.
Run through a dang brick wall, dude. It was so good. Here, I should have had this ready. My bad. This is really good podcasting.
Week in and week out. Fast and violent, man. Play in and play out. We're going to play with speed. We're going to play confident. We're going to have some swag. Talk a little shit. But I want them to show who they are. Play in and play out. And like I said, the one thing that you'll notice is the speed at which we play and the violence at which we do it. I'm not sure.
I mean, tell me that doesn't get you fired up right there, dude. Fast and violent. So, look, I'm excited about Robert Saleh. That being said, for our scheme and our fit, we need somebody to come in and develop Cam Ward. And with the news of the Titans slam dunk hiring Brian Daboll as our offensive coordinator, I feel like that has been the most slept on hire of the entire coaching cycle, because he's the perfect fit for Cam Ward. He is absolutely the perfect fit. I couldn't have asked for a better fit. I feel like we hired 2 head coaches. I feel like we went from Brian Callahan with 0 head coaches to having 2 on our team. Robert Saleh can totally take care of the defense and the culture, and he's involved in the offense and the game plan. But he's got a general now that he can just delegate the offensive planning to and everything. I mean, I'm so stoked about that. He was interviewing for the Bills head coaching job, the Raiders head coaching job. Like, the Raiders and the Cardinals haven't even hired a head coach yet, and Brian Daboll goes to the Titans. So am I in fantasy land over here, or is this excitement justified?
Well, I think the excitement is justified. When I heard about the Daboll signing, pair him along with Robert Saleh, I think Tennessee is going to play a fun brand of football.
Yes,
They're
sir.
going to be exciting to watch. They might not win many games, because neither one of them as a head coach have won many games. Let's not forget that.
Yeah,
but they're going to play a fun brand of football. It's exciting to watch. It'll be fun. Be interesting.
Okay. That's a very sober, unbiased take. I like that, because you're right. Like, they're the baldest and most aggressive coaches in the NFL, and both, coming from New York head coaching jobs. Like, I love it, man. It's the first time I've had any reason for excitement since we fired Mike Vrabel, if we're being honest.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
I'm pumped about
You're justified
that.
in your excitement. I think I'm excited. I'm not even a Tennessee fan. I just want to see what goes on down there.
Oh, one thing is guaranteed. We'll probably be like 7-10 or something this next year, which would be a massive improvement. One thing is a guarantee is one or both of those guys are going to get penalized for screaming at the refs at some point. Like, that's the culture I see us having in Nashville.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that, for me, since we did our last show, we covered head coaches quite a bit. I thought that was the biggest hire, at least in my world. Of course, that's the biggest hire, but I feel like that's the most significant hire that we had. And then you had Mike McCarthy to the Steelers. Did you watch his press conference? Did you see him get emotional at all?
No, I didn't see that.
Dude, when they hired Mike McCarthy, I was kind of like, the best tweet that I saw was hiring or getting rid of Mike Tomlin and hiring Mike McCarthy is like shitting your pants and changing your shirt. Like, that's really what it felt like. But I think that after seeing his press conference, because I didn't realize he's from the area, he grew up a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and one sentence in, he gets emotional and he starts crying. You didn't see that version of Mike McCarthy in Dallas at all. Like, he felt like he was kind of the whipping boy a little bit in Dallas, or the scapegoat, just somebody to blame, when Dallas has really done nothing since he left. So seeing him get emotional and fired up, that at least gave me reason for hope if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. And I would even love the chaos of if Aaron Rodgers stays another year and getting those two back together. I don't think he's going to. It sounds like Aaron Rodgers might not stay in Pittsburgh, but after watching Mike McCarthy's introductory press conference, he got super emotional. His whole family was there. You can tell he's proud to wear the Pittsburgh Steelers black and gold. And that was really special. So I'm optimistic about that now.
Okay. Well, I'm still not. That's a cool story, but I think it was so outside of the norm for the Pittsburgh Steelers to hire Mike McCarthy at this season of life he's in right now. Honestly, I thought it was a reach for them to be able to try to keep Rodgers another year.
Yeah.
It almost feels like McCarthy is just going to be some sort of bridge head coach to where hopefully they draft a quarterback or I don't know. I don't know if Will Howard is going to be their answer at long term at the quarterback position. So I feel like Mike McCarthy, if he lasts more than 5 years, I'd be very, very surprised.
I actually agree with you. I definitely agree with that. But I think for the next 3 to 5 years, however long he makes it, and the Steelers don't fire anybody. What if they have had like 4 coaches since like 1960, or I don't know if
But
that's
that's the
accurate, but
thing.
you know what I
They
mean?
hire these young defensive guys in their early 30s or maybe late 20s, like Tomlin and Cower before him. Like then they can just run, right? You hire McCarthy's what, 65?
Yeah.
Like there's not enough runway left there for him.
Yeah, that we'll see. It's going to be a really interesting offseason for Pittsburgh. They're going to have to get. I mean, you're not going to be able to win a Super Bowl with Will Howard and DK Metcalf. You know, that's assuming Aaron Rodgers leaves. You're just not going to be able to do it. And you know, their defense is a little bit on the older side and injury prone. And who knows if Jalen Ramsey's going to stay there? Who knows if gosh, I'm blanking on his name. I can see his face. Hayward is going to be around. Um, you know, yeah, TJ Watt. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, Mike McCarthy can at least keep a little bit of stability there in Pittsburgh and not, you know, turn into a full on implosion. But then
But you're almost
the
just
last,
kicking the can down the road,
you might be kicking
right?
the can down the
You're
road.
just it's a lot like the Minnesota Vikings where you're just stuck in this perpetual state of slightly above average.
Remember Zimmer? I just thought of Mike Zimmer. I haven't thought about him in a
I
long
try to forget
time.
about him.
He was good. He was very above
He was a
average for a
coach.
long time. Yeah, he was a B, just not a B plus, not a B minus, just B across the board for his whole time there. But then the last one that you had, and this has been a total dumpster fire, is Todd Monken getting hired by the Browns. Now, reports all week were pointing to them hiring Jim Schwartz, which that would have been a terrible hire too. I mean, we saw Jim Schwartz. He coached the Lions,
Detroit,
and
yeah.
I think that's it. Yeah, Detroit, and it wasn't good. Been a good defensive coordinator for a while, but it sounds like they kind of led him on and maybe used him for leverage or something, because we had multiple reports of different head coaching candidates explicitly turning down the Cleveland Browns job opportunity, like not interviewing for it, maybe had an interview scheduled and canceled it. So then you get Jim Schwartz within your own organization. You end up hiring Todd Monken, and all the reports I've been reading are Jim Schwartz is out. He's pissed at the front office, and he no longer wants to be a Cleveland Brown. So that's really interesting. He's a good defensive coordinator. He could land somewhere special. Honestly, if you told me, hey, Jim Schwartz is going to be your defensive coordinator, and you've got Robert Saleh, Brian Daboll, Jim Schwartz, I'd be happy with that. You know, I wouldn't be upset with that at all. 3 head coaches. In any event, yeah, I feel the same way about Todd Monken as I do, you know, the way we talked about Jeff Hafley last week. Just really, what went on in that interview that made you think that this was the best option available? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. Especially, well, okay, I'm gonna back up. So what I've heard about the Browns hiring process is they're making these guys do personality tests, write essays, do all of these like little things that have nothing to do with X's and O's or football.
Yikes.
Yeah, and I think that turned a lot of people off. It's their GM is like super analytical driven. So it's just a weird situation. But going back to the point about Todd Monken, he had a decent offense with Lamar because he was the OC for Baltimore for a few years prior to this. But him and Lamar kept butting heads. And so I think, I mean, you look at the quarterbacks on the current roster, you got Shador, Dylan Gabriel, or Deshaun Watson. If you can't get along with Lamar, I don't think you're going to get along very well with any of those guys either.
I didn't think of that. Great point.
Yeah, so it's I don't know. Cleveland Browns just keep doing Cleveland Browns things.
Dude, how do you fire Kevin Stefanski and you keep your GM who's responsible for that roster? I mean, good Lord. It's just leaves you speechless. I mean, at the end of the day, I can be happy as a Titans fan that I'm not a Cleveland Browns fan. I mean,
we'll always have
insane.
that.
We will always have that. We'll miss the playoffs, and we've done it. We've been there. We fired a head coach we shouldn't have fired before, but good God, worst trade, worst contract in NFL history, Deshaun Watson. Somehow that guy keeps his job. So, all right, we have gone a little bit over time here. We got to bring it in for a landing now. Anything we missed? Any storylines that we need to touch on, Fish, before we wrap it up here?
Not that I had. I always come super prepared.
We've got some other things that we can talk about. Maybe we'll
after
do a cleanup episode. Yeah, we could do a cleanup episode either next week or after the Super Bowl or something like that. But because you had a big UFC event, you've got some stuff going on with golf that we're going to touch on, and we've got some other stuff going on in the world. But Fish, this is such a pleasure doing this podcast with you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for you are by far the best recurring guest I've ever had on this show. So thank you so much.
That's high praise.
It's a blast. Thank you guys. Thank you everybody for tuning in every single week. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for leaving reviews. I've got a ton of reviews now for the show. I didn't think I had to say this, but come on, guys, leave me 5-star reviews. Don't be leaving me 4 stars, bringing my average down. Like, you're not supposed to be that honest. Give me 5-star reviews, please.
Was I the reason for the 4-star?
No, I don't know what it was. I just had a couple random 4 stars. It doesn't tell you who says it, so I can't call anybody out. But yeah, thank you guys. Please, continue to share the show. Share this with the biggest football fan you know. And yeah, we'll probably touch in one more time before we've got Super Bowl Sunday. So a lot to look forward to. I love you all. Have a good night.
Love you.